জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী। জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী। গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী। গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী। যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজনরঞ্জন। যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজনরঞ্জন। যমুনা তীরবনচারী। যমুনা তীরবনচারী। জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী। জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী। গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী। গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী। যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজনরঞ্জন। Jashodanandana Brajojanaranjana Jamunatira Bonojari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana-vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana-vallabha Girivaradhari Jayong Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottar Shato Shri Srimad Abhay Charanarubindo Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Shamabeto Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hare Hare. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Today we are going to discuss the 8th chapter, Prayers by Queen Kuntī. So the previous chapter was the son of Drona punished because of his heinous act of killing the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi. Now, Sutta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. So this is the custom for the departed souls. Water is offered. It's called tarpan, especially Ganges water. After the departure, after leaving the body, the living entities still continue to exist in their subtle body, and in their subtle body they still have their desires. They have hunger, they have thirst, and at that time it is beneficial for the departed soul to offer Krishna Prasad and Ganges water. So when Ganges water is offered to them, they feel satisfied and they get sanctified, they get purified, and their journey back to their next destination, the journey to their next destination becomes easier. So that's what the Pandavas did. All after the battle, many of the family members, actually most of the family members, were dead. The Kurukshetra, battle of Kurukshetra took place between the relatives, between the two lines of the same family. Dhritarashtra's line and Pandu's line. Dhritarashtra's line headed by Duryodhana and his other 99 brothers, and Pandava's side was headed by Yudhishthir Maharaj and his 4 brothers. And practically everyone was dead. Duryodhana and his 100 brothers were dead. All their children were dead. Anyone that was on their side practically were dead. And on the Pandav side also, everyone died. Only the 5 Pandavas were surviving. Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, died. The 5 sons of Draupadi also died. And so naturally the family members were very much heartbroken. They went to the Ganges to offer water in Tarpan to the departed souls. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Why Ganges is purified? Ganges is pure, Ganges is holy, and how come Ganges purifies everything? Because the Ganges is washing the lotus feet of the Lord. After Bali Maharaj took over the kingdom of heaven, and in order to reinstate Indra, the Lord appeared as Indra's younger brother, Upendra, Vaman Dev. And he went to Bali Maharaj and asked for just 3 steps of land. And with these 3 steps of land, he took over, he covered, with just 2 steps he covered the entire universe. And there was no place for him to put his 3rd step. So, and when Vamandev stretched his foot to the end of the universe, the covering of the universe, his toe touched the universal covering, and as a result of that, it cracked the universal covering. And Karana ocean, water from the Karana ocean, Karanavari, came down, sipped into, and it fell at the feet of Vamandev. So that is how Ganga started, Ganga emanated, and that is how Ganga actually washed the lotus feet of the Lord. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his younger brothers and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kuntī, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna also was there. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who are shocked and affected. So, Krishna himself was personally present there with the Pandavas and the bereaving members of the Kuru family. And when they were lamenting, Krishna and the other sages who are also assembled there at that time started to pacify them, telling them, look, this is the law of nature, the stringent law of nature, and no one can avoid that. The law of nature is Jatasya hi dhrubam mrittur dhrubam janma mritasya cha. Whoever is born is bound to die. Jatasya hi dhrubam mrittur. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained that to Arjuna extensively. And again, Krishna is reminding the same instruction to the other members of the family. Yes, when we are in the material nature, we develop attachment due to our relationships. And when we become separated from our relatives through death, we naturally feel pain. But what can be done? It is the law of nature. In one hand, our heart develops relationship, and the softer the heart, the more afflicted it becomes due to the separation from near and dear ones. So a living entity with soft heart laments for the loss of a loved one. Like the mother naturally develops love for the son. Wife naturally develops attachment to the husband. Father naturally develops attachment to the son and daughter. And when they are separated, they become afflicted. They feel pain. But at the same time, we have to remember that this is the law of nature. We cannot help it. Everybody is going to die. We all are going to die. So the point is, as long as we are alive, we must take advantage of this human form of life. As long as we are alive, we must cultivate our attachment to Krishna. That is the ultimate solution to all our problems. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no enemy. Yudhishthir Maharaj didn't have any enemy. Therefore, Yudhishthir Maharaj here in the verse has been addressed as Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru, whose enemy hasn't been born. So Yudhishthir Maharaj didn't have any enemy. But Duryodhana was so envious that although Yudhishthir Maharaj was so noble and so virtuous, so righteous, and so sinless, but still Duryodhana developed his animosity with Yudhishthir Maharaj, and he took away his kingdom. He cheated him and took away his kingdom. Clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. Duryodhana and his party insulted Draupadi. Dushashan dragged Draupadi into the assembly by holding his hair, by grabbing her by her hair, and brought her into the assembly court, royal court. And there he tried to undress Draupadi. So this was insulting a woman in this way, especially a virtuous woman, causes one to lose all his good fortune. So actually through this act, Duryodhana and his allies lost the duration of their life. So that is what has been pointed out here. Duryodhana, because of his sinful acts, died along with all his brothers and all the members, those who those who sided with him. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedh Yajna, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthir, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. In order to become Indra, one needs to perform 100 horse sacrifices. If one does that, then he can become Indra. Therefore, Indra becomes very worried when somebody performs horse sacrifice. Like Prithu Maharaj also performed 99 horse sacrifices, and when he was performing the 100th horse sacrifice, Indra became so disturbed, Indra became so worried that he stole the horse. And in order to steal the horse, he committed so many other heinous acts. And also King Shagar was performing horse sacrifices, so Indra stole his horse also. And he tied the horse, sacrificial horse, in the ashram of Kapil Muni. And so in this way we find that whenever somebody performs horse sacrifice, Indra becomes very perturbed, very disturbed. And of course nowadays, in the age of Kali, horse sacrifice has been forbidden. Horse sacrifice and cow sacrifice, Ashwamedh and Gomedh. Ashwamedham Gavalabdham. Horse sacrifice and cow sacrifice, these 2 sacrifices are forbidden in this age. Ashwamedham Gavalabdham, sannyas, ekadanda sannyas has been forbidden. Palapautrikam, offering meat in Shraddha of the departed forefather, departed souls, has been forbidden. Sannyasa Palapautrikam Devarena Sutatpatti, generating progeny by the brother in the womb of the wife when the husband is dead is also forbidden. So these 5 things are Kalo Pancha Vivarjayet. In the age of Kali, these 5 acts are forbidden. So horse sacrifice is forbidden. What to speak of horse sacrifice? Nobody performs any sacrifice in this age. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vasudev. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. O my Lord, you are all-powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. Suta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. In the Pandava family, the last member, last successor, the only successor in that line was the son of Abhimanyu in the womb of his wife Uttara. And Ashwatthama was so envious and so revengeful that in spite of being punished and forgiven, Arjun took a vow to kill him. And Krishna also told him, kill him. Krishna also told Arjun to kill him. But because Draupadi wanted to forgive him, they accepted that. Arjun accepted that, and instead of chopping his head off, he just took that, the jewel that Ashwatthama naturally had on his head from his birth. And that was considered to be synonymous to killing his head. The jewel was severed from his head along with his hair. But still, Ashwatthama was revengeful. And he wanted to kill the last member or the last successor, the only successor to the entire family. So Krishna could see that, and Krishna, Sutta Goswami then told that that's what actually happened. Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. Pandavas took up their weapons. The Almighty Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them. So Krishna took up his Sudarshan chakra to protect Uttara and Parikshit Maharaj in her womb. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. The Lord of the Supreme Mysticism, Shri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kudu dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. So in this way, Parikshit Maharaj was saved when he was in the womb of his mother. O Shaunaka, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Sri Krishna. O Brahmanas, do not think this is to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. So, for Krishna, nothing is impossible. Krishna can do anything. Krishna can even counteract Brahmastra by his own power. For Krishna, nothing is impossible. Because Krishna is the creator and the maintainer of the entire creation. So since he is the creator and maintainer, what can be ever impossible for him? Therefore, Sutta Goswami told the sages assembled in the Naimisharanya that when Krishna counteracted the Brahmastra by his energy, they should not think that it was an impossible act. It was, for Krishna everything is possible. Because he maintains and annihilates all material things by his internal potency, by his transcendental energy. Thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kuntī, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. So Kuntī Devi stopped Krishna by her prayers. These are now the prayers of Kuntī is beginning. Srila Prabhupada extensively spoke on these prayers of Kuntī, Queen Kuntī, and that has been compiled in a book called The Prayers of Queen Kuntī. And Kuntī Devi's prayers are so beautiful. Srimati Kuntī said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Namaste Purushang Tvaddam Ishsharang Prakrite Param Alakshang Sarva Bhutanam Antar Bahir Avasthitam. So these are the prayers of Queen Kuntī, very beautiful. So someday we will recite the Sanskrit verses also. And Maya Javanikachannam Agyam Adhokshajam Abbayam Na Lakshashe Mudhadrisha Nato Natto Dharo Yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. Maya Javanikachannam. You are invisible to the foolish observers, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the heart of the advanced devotees, transcendentalists and mental speculators, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. So here we can see Kuntī Devi knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Krishna was her nephew, but she knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And although she was senior, and in the Vedic culture generally the seniors don't offer respect to the juniors, rather seniors offer affection to the juniors, Kuntī Devi is offering her respects to Krishna, offering obeisances to Krishna. Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajanghraye. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. O Rishikesh, Master of the senses and the Lord of the Lords, you have released your mother, Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. Now it comes to the text 24, which is written on the board. So we will read this verse together. Vishan Maha Agnaye Agne Vishan Mahagne Purusha Ada Darshanat Purushad Darshanat Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mridhe Aneka Maharathastato Droni Astratas Chasma Hare Abhirakshitaha Bishan Mahagne Purushad Darshana Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrata Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mridhe Neka Maharathastrato Mridhe Neka Maharathastrato Dronastratas Chasma Hare Virakshita Dronastratas Chasma Hare Rabhikshita Bishan Mahagne Purushad Darshana Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mridhe Neka Maharathastrato Dronastratas Chasma Hare Virakshitaha. My dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from suffering during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought, and now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. So Kuntī Devi is admitting how Krishna saved them time and time again. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, the list of dangerous encounters is submitted herein. Devaki was once put into difficulty by her envious brother, otherwise she was well. But Kuntī Devi and her sons were put into one difficulty after another for years and years together. They were put into trouble by Duryodhan and his party due to the kingdom, and each and every time the sons of Kuntī were saved by the Lord. Once Bhima was administered poison in a cake, once they were put into the house made of shellac,
and set afire. And once Draupadi was dragged out and attempts were made to insult her by stripping her naked in the vicious assembly of the Kurus, the Lord saved Draupadi by supplying an immeasurable length of cloth, and Duryodhana's party failed to see her naked. Similarly, when they were exiled in the forest, Bhima had to fight with the man-eater demon Hirimba Rakshasa. But the Lord saved him. So it was not finished there. After all these tribulations, there was the great battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjun had to meet such great generals as Drona, Bhishma and Karna, all powerful fighters. And at last, even when everything was done away with, there was the Brahmastra released by the son of Dronacharya to kill the child within the womb of Uttara, and so the Lord saved the only surviving descendant of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit. So Sutta Goswami here is narrating all these because he was describing the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. And because in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is actually based on Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed, he was preparing to leave this planet. At that time, Sukadeva Goswami appeared there and spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. In that assembly, Sutta Goswami was present, and he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And when the sages assembled in Naimisharanya to perform this 1,000-year-long yajna, then Sutta Goswami appeared there, and he, on their request, again recited Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why he is, first of all, after describing about Sukadeva Goswami, he is describing Parikshit Maharaj. So here it comes to the prayers of Queen Kuntī to Sri Krishna when Krishna was about to leave for Dwarka. So she is saying, then after that she is saying, that I wish that all these calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. Because whenever we are in difficulty, you saved us. You came and saved us. Therefore, let there be more and more difficulties so that we can always have you with us. Otherwise, we may forget you. So Kunti Devi is afraid of forgetting Krishna. Therefore she is saying, I wish that all these calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated birth and death. Just by seeing Krishna, we can become free from the bondage of material nature. We can become free from the cycle of birth and death. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feelings. Also a very important instruction from Kunti Devi. Janmo Vaishadya Shuta Sridhir, birth in high aristocratic family, being very opulent, Vaishadya, being very learned, and having physical beauty are actually impediments to spiritual progress. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Gaur Premanande. So, on the other hand, when one becomes totally exhausted materially, for him it is easy to receive the mercy of Krishna by becoming surrendered to Krishna. He's saying that your lordship can be easily approached. Krishna can be very easily approached. But only by those who are materially exhausted, those who have become totally frustrated with their material life. If one maintains material attachment, not only material attachment in the form of attachment to the family members and relatives and possessions of the materialistic possession, but even to have this desire to be born in a aristocratic family or a high class family, to have opulence, to be very learned and to be very beautiful. These are impediments towards Krishna consciousness. If we don't have them, it is better for us actually. Materially people think to be born in a poor family is not desirable. But a devotee feels, let me be born in a poor family. Because if I am born in a rich family, I will develop material attachment. Let me not be born in a very high class family. Rather, let me be born in a low class family. Let me be born, because whatever the materialist wants, a devotee wants just the opposite. A materialistic person wants to be born in a high class family, in an opulent atmosphere, and wants to be very learned and educated, have big degrees, and be very beautiful, handsome. But a devotee wants just the opposite. Why? Because these are impediments. We notice that although Krishna consciousness is very wonderfully purifying, but still they act as impediments. Sometimes, of course, the remarkable thing is that because Krishna consciousness spread in America and the West, America and Europe, they were already exhausted with their materialistic way of life. Either you have nothing or you get completely burnt out. Both are beneficial. Either you don't have any material opulence, or in spite of having opulence, you feel that it doesn't have any meaning. So Prabhupada often used to tell his American and European disciples that because of your pious activities, you are born in wealthy families, you have very handsome bodies, beautiful bodies, but Krishna has been very merciful and attracted you. You are very fortunate that you have become attracted to Krishna. Otherwise, these are impediments. We notice for a person who doesn't have anything, it's easy to become a devotee. But a person who has a lot of material attachments or material position, is difficult to become a devotee. They think, oh, I studied for so many years and got such a big degree, how can I become a Hare Krishna? Those who have nothing, let them become Hare Krishna. But they don't realize that actually to become a devotee of Krishna is the most fortunate thing for a living entity. When people are properly guided, they can understand that. That's why in India, in the early days, the best of the people used to become devotees because they were guided properly. Their spiritual masters and the saintly people that they submitted themselves to, they would advise that look, the ultimate goal of life is to become Krishna conscious. And all your material possessions are only temporary. And besides that, nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to Krishna. So if you consider Krishna's thing to be yours, then you are being a thief. And a thief must be punished. Therefore, even the kings in India used to take care of their kingdoms as a caretaker of Krishna, not as a king, not as the proprietor of the kingdom, but they used to consider that they were the caretakers. They were just taking care of Krishna's property. They were simply a servant of Krishna. That's why they could free themselves so easily from their material bondage. And ultimately, that's why it is the most important consideration is that one comes across a devotee of the Lord and gets enlightened by him. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and a master of the monists. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, and all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work and that you take birth, though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. My dear Krishna, Jashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara of your eyes. And you are afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. So this is how wonderful Krishna's activities are, and this is how bewildering Krishna's activities are. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is being chased by his mother. And then when the mother caught him, seeing the stick in his mother's hand, he is crying. Rudantang muhur netram jugmang mrijantam karambhoja jugmena satanka netram. So it's bewildering. He is acting just like an ordinary child. Who will think that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? But why he is acting like that? Simply to give pleasure to his devotees. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Jadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. So she is describing how different people think, the different reasons for Krishna's appearance. Some think that Krishna came to please the Jadu, who was a devotee. Jadu was a devotee of Krishna. Therefore, he appeared in his family. Some say Devaki and Vasudeva, in order to please them, Krishna appeared as their son. And some think that Krishna appeared because Brahma prayed to him to relieve the burden of this earth. So this way different people have different understandings, and all the understandings are correct. And yet others say that you appear to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Bhave yasmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma bhi shravana smaranar hani karishyaniti kechana shrinvanti gayanti grinnanta vikshasa smaranti nandanti tabehitam jana ta eva pashyanta chirena tavakam bhava prabaho paramang padambujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Jadus, will end at once. O Gadadhar, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful, but when you leave, it will no longer be so. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because of herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the ocean full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality, the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. O Krishna, O friend of Arjun, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. Then Sutta Goswami said, up to this was the prayer of Queen Kunti. Then Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhishthir, who implored him lovingly. King Yudhishthir, who was much aggrieved, could not be convinced despite instructions by great sages headed by Vyas and the Lord Krishna himself, the performer of superhuman feats, and despite all historical evidence. King Yudhishthir, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. King Yudhishthir said, O my lot, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many phalanxes of men. I have killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for all these sins. There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizens. But this injunction is not applicable to me. I have killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud or purify a wine-stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. So thus end the 8th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. So thus ends the 8th chapter. So does anybody have any question?
Who is actually, in fact, very enthusiastic to kill Ashwatthama, but both are devoted to the Lord.
The first consideration is that anyone, irrespective of his nature and mentality and attitude, can become a devotee of Krishna. And who is more dear or less dear will depend upon one's love for Krishna. So it is among the Pandavas is considered that Arjuna was the most intimate to Krishna. One main reason was that, or rather one of the reasons was they were equal in age. They are of the same age. Therefore they were naturally, in the family, the cousins of the same age become close to each other. Whereas Bhima and Yudhishthir were elders and Nakul and Sahadev were younger. And that was the apparent reason, but ultimate reason is Arjuna was most attached to Krishna. He was his love for Krishna was the most. And Bhima, Krishna used to make fun of him at times. And Bhima also had a very sweet relationship with Krishna. And he admitted to Krishna. He said, Krishna, look, I can't observe Ekadasi. Bhima was so fond of eating. His name was Brikodar. His udar was like that of a wolf. Wolf is always hungry. So Bhima was always hungry and he could eat and he loved to eat. So observing Ekadasi was difficult for him. So Krishna said, okay, just observe once a year, which is known as Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi. Like that. He admitted his frailties, his shortfalls. And ultimately they all were very fond of Krishna. But Arjuna was the dearmost. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. That's why Krishna is saying that I am giving you this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the information of Bhagavad Gita, because you are my friend and you are my devotee. He spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, not to Yudhishthir or Bhima or Nakul or Sahadev. So that shows that he was the dearmost. Yes, Parul? Mind is?
The state of mind is brain.
Okay.
But it is also considered that our soul is covered with mind, false ego, and
yeah. The shape of the subtle body is not like the gross body. The shape has only consideration like beautiful body or ugly body. If somebody's mind is beautiful, if somebody's mind is free from different impediments and anarthas, then that mind is beautiful. If a mind is kind and compassionate, that mind is beautiful. But if a mind is envious, angry, then that mind is ugly. So, and you see, subtle body doesn't really have a form like that, but the subtle body can retain the form of its gross body in a way, like in relation to the gross body. For example, when the impression that the body carries, the impression that the mind carries, the subtle body can have somewhat that form. Like for example, when the gross body is asleep, but the subtle body is dreaming. In the subtle body, it imagines its form, it kind of retains its form. You get that point? Right? Although the gross body is not active, but the subtle body is synonymous to the gross body. Right? Subtle body is thinking himself of the gross body, according to the gross body. And then the other consideration is that as one acts, accordingly the impressions are imprinted in the subtle body. Like if somebody acts like an angel, his subtle body becomes like an angel's. And then in his next life, he gets the body accordingly. So as one acts, accordingly the subtle body takes the shape. And according to the subtle body's shape, one gets the gross body. Nature decides, oh, you acted like an angel, so you'll get an angel's body. Oh, you acted like a dog, so you'll get a dog's body. Okay, now the next point is the seat of the subtle body, or the mind. Yeah, the seat of the mind is the brain, head. Whereas the seat of the soul is the heart. Right? So if somebody is intelligent, what do you say? Don't you say that he has a good brain? He has a good brain. So where is the intelligence? In the brain, in the head. Whereas he has a good heart. It's the indicative of the soul.
One more question in this chapter, text 31. Kuntī Devi is saying that she's explaining very nicely when Yashoda stands Krishna. And she was present there, or she just saw how she...
No, Kuntī Devi was not there, but she heard. But when you hear, then also you see in your mind's eye, right? Like Krishna, Yashoda was chasing you and you're crying when Yashoda caught you. So she heard, and by hearing, this sight means not that this sight here means the incidence. That incidence is bewildering. She didn't see it herself, but she heard, and what she heard is the sight, that Krishna is crying. She heard that Yashoda caught, and then Krishna was crying. He was wiping the tears with the back of his hand. His eyes became so afraid of seeing Mother Yashoda like that. So she heard, and what she heard formed the sight. And she's thinking that she's admitting that this sight was bewildering. Because how can the Supreme Personality of Godhead cry? Being afraid of somebody holding a stick. Right? So that's what she's admitting. Any other question? Yes.
They don't have anything, or they have a lot of prosperity, but then they are fed up with it.
Unless and until one comes across a devotee of the Lord and hears about Krishna and hears about the importance of accepting Krishna consciousness, he can't become a devotee. So that is the most important consideration. But then again, one becomes more conducive to Krishna consciousness, or the hearing from a devotee or a saintly person, taking his instruction seriously when one is materially exhausted, or when one is in difficulty. Like you remember, there's 4 types of people who join. One in distress, one in need of money, one who is inquisitive, and one who is situated in knowledge. So all 4 are deserving candidates for Krishna consciousness, provided they come across a bona fide spiritual master, a devotee of the Lord. Yeah, Jamana Priya?
Maharaj was thinking when he was Arjuna was such a devotee of the Lord. So my question is that, is affection to devotees an impediment to Krishna consciousness? Why was she?
You see, affection to devotees, if it is centered around Krishna, then it is conducive. But even affection to devotees without Krishna, that is, if the attachment is on a bodily platform, is an impediment. Right? So for example, Pandavas are the devotees, right? But Kuntī Devi is the mother. Now she is afraid that if my attachment to the Pandavas is because of my filial affection, for my affection towards them because they are my children, because they are my sons, then that affection will be an impediment. So ultimately it is our own approach that really matters. If we approach with Krishna consciousness, it will be conducive. If our approach is different, then it may have some indirect effect, but the direct effect will not be there. Like a thief became attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not because of him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, as a devotee, but they became attracted to him because of the ornaments that he was wearing, and he stole them. So in order to steal, they stole him. But then they received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, sometimes some thieves got attracted to Krishna because of the jewels the ornaments that he was wearing, and they wanted to steal. But just being attracted by coming in contact with Krishna, they became a devotee of Krishna. So attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, in whichever way, is beneficial. But the direct attraction will cause known spiritual benefit, and indirect will cause unknown spiritual benefit. The unknown spiritual benefit, or Agyata Sukriti, will generate the result not immediately. Sometimes, no one knows when it can, but someday it will, sometime it will. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande.